This is an older video, or the older message. I'm trying to get back to all the messages that I've received and trying to answer all these questions. This is a lot that I gotta get to. So this one's about being mixed Asian. So this guy, I'm just gonna read this guy's message and just respond back real quick. He said, "Glad that you enjoyed the Artie Lang MMA video. I would love to hear your opinion on this specific topic." He says, "It seems that mixed white Asians tend to achieve higher fame and status in Hollywood, including Lou Diamond Phillips," I don't know who that is, Rob Schneider, I don't know who that is either, and Keanu Reeves. Before this guy even mentioned this, I never even knew that Keanu Reeves was mixed. But hey, maybe he is. Okay, now they're saying, should they have a responsibility to speak out for more equality on Asian American social issues, being that they tend to rise to greater fame than, forgive me for saying this, full-blooded Asians? Are they whitewashed sellouts when they don't do this? I believe that Keanu Reeves could have fulfilled this role but has sold out to Hollywood, but exploits his Asian heritage by doing the Matrix films, directing the movie Man of Tai Chi, and trying to get the US rights to classic Japanese anime Akira. What do you say, Freddie? And you even saw what happened to Bruce Lee himself. I mean, he wrote the script and everything for that whole TV series, the Kung Fu, whatever. And then he was supposed to play the starring role, but then they ended up picking David Carradine over him because he was more Caucasian. You know, and it's just like Bruce was going through that, and things haven't changed at all. I mean, really, the way that I think about it, when I really do look at it, I think white America, and maybe even black America, they don't want the Asians to rise. You know what I mean? As far as population is concerned, just China alone is 1.3 billion people. And then add in the people in Japan, add in the people in Thailand, add in the people in the Philippines, add in the people in India. These are all considered Asian people. They outnumber, they probably outnumber any other race. And I think America sees that as a threat. And not only do they outnumber, but they have intelligence. I mean, they're smart people. I mean, they've created things hundreds or even thousands of years before America even discovered it. America a lot of times creates things thinking that they are the first ones that created it, but then in actuality it was created like 500 or 1,000 years ago, way before in China. You know, and the Chinese and then just Asians in general are extremely intelligent people. And you even see it in America when you have these Asian Americans in colleges. They get like really good grades, and they work hard. And I think the Americans, they see a threat of this. So we live in America, and America does not belong to Asians. The Asians own the other countries in the East, but they don't own America. And the Americans, no matter if they're white or black, they want to maintain their power and control. And when it comes to significant occupations that demand a lot of respect and get a lot of money, such as the movie industry, the music industry, the world of politics, the whites and the blacks, they want to maintain control of that. They don't want to share those occupations. The only jobs that they're willing to share are basically like manual labor type jobs. So they'll They'll ship over all their factories to China and have them do all the dirty work. They'll hire minorities to mow their lawn and shovel the snow. They'll hire minorities to become waiters and waitresses and cashiers. But when it comes to like jobs that where you're making millions and you're achieving a lot of fame in America, they don't want any Asians taking those roles. They don't want Americans looking up and admiring Asians. That's just the fact of the matter of what I see. I see that white America would rather have people look up to a black person than an Asian person. I see that America is basically dominated by whites, and the second in line would be the blacks. And the blacks are fighting so hard to gain more power in politics and entertainment and just within America, that nobody wants to make room for the Asians. The blacks don't want them there and the whites don't want them there. So with so much resistance, it's just not going to happen. As far as the people being mixed Asian, they're just taking advantage of their strength. I mean, just being part white puts them at a higher level of respect and, in a way, dominance here in America. And do you blame them? Well, they're born this way, and they're just taking advantage of it. Taking advantage of, the whiteness in them. And I don't blame them. But as far as them speaking up against the racism against Asian Americans, doing it publicly when you're famous already, it's too much of a taboo, and it's gonna create too much negativity and argument and debate, of which I don't think that any of them want to, they don't want to be a part of that. It's very stressful to talk about racism, and I don't think that's just something that the people just want to jump into. Do they have a responsibility? Well, I don't know. It's either in you or it's not. And because there's not that many Asian American famous people to begin with anyway, you're very unlikely to find anybody that's going to actually speak about it. I mean, look at all the African Americans and look at all the famous black people in this world. How many people will actually, speak about racism and basically bring that to people's attention? There's just more blacks, and still, not that many people would really want to step forward and talk about it. So if there's only 3 or 5 Asian Americans that are famous, the chances of one of them speaking up against racism against Asian Americans is very slim. And I'm not surprised that nobody really speaks up against it. So, I don't know, I just feel that most people out there are just, trying to just take care of themselves and care about themselves and not really care about other people. So, it's expected. And I don't think, I don't think there's going to be many drastic changes for the Asian Americans. I mean, Bruce Lee died, over 40 years ago, and racism against Asian Americans was very strong back then, and it's still very strong right now. I mean, they're just outright blunt about it, Asians are just, they're not going to be in Hollywood because they're Asian. Either they're Asian or they just say something, oh, because they're too short. And then, they're not in the sports really. They're just, kind of prevented from getting into that type of industry. So I just learned to accept it, and it is what it is, but in the same token, with YouTube, you do see a lot of Asians out in YouTube that has made it pretty damn successful on their YouTube channels. So, like some of these comedians, and there's some Asians out there that are doing well. So I'm happy for them. So even though we're not enabled to be in the mainstream media, at least there's YouTube, and we should be thankful for that.